this earth came into being, how did universe came into being. Okay, so for universe, the most accepted theory was the Big Bang theory, and from the Big Bang theory came a sub theory of the formation of earth, that is those gases which must have scattered, must have condensed together, and then started cooling, on the basis of which this earth was formed. And then after earth was formed, how did life came into being? So there were many theories put forward, out of which we have done. Okay, I'll be showing you my sheets. Okay, so we have done about the theory of spontaneous generation, and in theory of spontaneous generation, we were doing this. We have done about evolution. What is the evolutionary process? Somebody has sent me a chat message. Let me see. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so evolutionary process we have discussed, origin of life, Big Bang theory. We did a reference to this. We did about how Earth was formed, and then how were the different parts that were formed, and then we were doing the theories of origin of life, out of which we have already done the theory of special creation, and I told you that theory of special creation, it relates to somewhat to the theory that we Hindus also believe in it. That is, Lord Brahma has formed the entire world. Similarly, according to Christians also, Father Suresh, he gave this theory that yes, the whole earth, all the living organisms were formed by God within a span of 6 to 7 days, in which every day a separate part of the earth was created. That is, at one point the water was formed, water animals were formed, land animals were formed, and so on. Then the first man and the first woman, that is Adam and Eve, were created, which gave the that started the human race. Okay. Then secondly, we have done the theory of panspermia or cosmozoic theory, in which we have studied that many scientists, they believe that spores sorry, panspermia or spores that came from outside, from the universe, somehow they came and settled down on earth. They came through meteors, they came through meteorites, etc. From the space, they came on their own, they settled down here, and then they evolved, and every day all this life was formed. Then we were doing the theory of spontaneous generation. Theory of spontaneous generation, as I told you, the main person who tried to prove the theory of spontaneous generation was Van Helmont. Along with that, there were many Greek philosophers like Thales, like Xenophon, then Plato, Aristotle. All of them gave the theory of spontaneous generation, but further they believed in the theory of spontaneous generation rather, but they could not prove it. Okay, and Van Helmont, when he tried to prove it, it was a highly vague experiment. So there were many scientists who experimentally proved that yes, theory of spontaneous generation is not correct, and out of these scientists, we have already done this experiment that was done by Pasteur's experiment, and in which he showed that if it is a sterile flask and no microorganism enter from outside, new microorganisms will not arise. Okay, then the next experiment was Spalzini's experiment. Spalzini's experiment also said that if the container with the flesh was kept open, only then maggots will appear. If it is closed, maggots will not appear. Then one theory was, I told you about Reddy's experiment. Again, Reddy also did the same experiment. He kept flesh in a flask, and then then what happened? Then new organisms they developed in this flesh. But when that flesh was covered with porcelain cloth, or it was parchment cloth, or it was covered with a muslin cloth, then flies used to visit that flask, but still maggots did not appear inside the flesh, because the flies could not reach to the flesh, so they could not release their eggs there. Fine. So these were the theories that proved that yes, theory of spontaneous generation is absolutely wrong. Then came the next theory, that is the theory of chemical evolution. I told you it was proposed by somebody else and it was proved by somebody else. Oparin and Haldane, they proposed the theory of chemical evolution, and then they said that when Earth was formed, then all the substances that were present on Earth, all the type of environmental conditions that were present on Earth were good enough to make these inorganic molecules combine together and develop into an organic molecule. And maybe all these organic molecules may have combined with one another and formed a cell-like structure, and this cell-like structure later developed into the whole diversity. But they could not prove it, so that is why this theory of chemical evolution was also not accepted by the scientists till the time it was proved by Miller and Urey. Okay, so now comes Miller and Urey experiment, which you have already done in class 10, and it was very important from class 10 point of view also. What did Miller and Urey did? Because they had to prove Oparin and Haldane theory. So they studied the theory and they tried to find out. They studied about various meteors. They studied about the environment of other planets, and that they tried to hypothesize that what all things must have been present on Earth when Earth originated. Okay, so they thought that the most probable components must have been methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and large amount of water vapor. Okay, oxygen would not have been there because till that time plants were not developed. Although Oparin did say that oxygen could have been formed by splitting of water vapor, but they thought that at the beginning of the Earth there was no oxygen present, so they did not put any oxygen in the flask. These 4 types of gases were taken, and then they were given a temperature of around 800 degrees Celsius and a high temperature because Earth was very, very hot. Plus, because of formation of water vapor, large amount of water vapor, clouds were formed. And when the clouds they strike against one another, it's not striking. We know that it is the differences in the charge. So because of this, the difference in the charge, lightning must have taken place. So what did they do? They took all these gases together, provided a high temperature, and then lightning was provided. That is, electrical discharge was provided. And when the electrical discharge was provided, so they did not conduct this experiment once. They conducted it many times. And every time they were able to develop, they were able to get a different type of an organic molecule. Okay. For example, all these simple substances, they join together and form an amino acid. They combine together and sometimes they develop into a pigment, or they develop into nitrogenous bases, like that is RNA, DNA, RNA, all these adenine, thymine, guanine, or cytosine was formed. Okay, so what hypothesis they gave? They said that when inorganic material can combine together and develop into an organic molecule, then even these organic molecules can combine together and develop into a cell-like structure. And once a cell is formed, then yes, modification in this cell, the changes in the cell can lead to the different amount of diversity which is formed, which is present on Earth today. Okay, so because they proved it experimentally, that is why this theory of chemical evolution was more or less accepted. So this is how they conducted the experiment. Same diagram you had in your class 10th book. Okay, so what did they do? They took a condenser in which they had put all the primitive gases, the 4 gases we had discussed. Electrical discharge was given, water was also provided, and in the end what they happened, when these things were passed through water, they got some condensed complex molecules. In liquid form, they got some condensed complex molecules were achieved. So this proved that yes, organic molecule can be formed from inorganic matter. Okay. So now one of the theory is not mentioned here. The theory which is not mentioned here is the theory of biological origin. So we have discussed about the experimental theory. Now the theory of biological origin is not mentioned here, but that is also a very interesting theory. Now this origin of this biological origin, it was proved by Oparin. Oparin in 1924, he observed co-acerbates. Okay, not there in your NCERT, but you should know that scientists did not stop at just discovering the chemical origin, small chemicals combining together and developing into an organic molecule. They also tried that is it possible that when we combine these organic molecules, can it develop into something which is related to a living cell? Okay, so they tried to find this out. They tried to find out the biological origin. And what did he do? He mixed, what did Oparin do? He mixed a large amount of proteins and some polysaccharides. And when these 2 types of biological molecules, biomolecules were mixed together, What did they achieve? They achieved the development of coacervates. And what were these coacervates? These coacervates were just like a complex of proteins and lipids, but they showed a small amount of metabolism. And we know metabolism is the determining feature for life. In 11th, when we started the chapter, the first chapter, the living world, we studied what are the determining factors, what factors show that life is present or an organism is living or non-living. And one determining factor was presence of metabolism. So if by combining small molecules, we can get coacervates, and these coacervates can show a small amount of metabolic reaction in them. That is the first sign of living organism. So they can further change into a cell-like structure. This cell can further evolve into various types of living organism. Okay, so the basis of the biological theory says that there must be a supply of replicators. Replicators are what? Self-reproducing molecules, and the copying of these molecules must have led to the development or evolution of life. Okay, so this is what is known as the theory of biological origin. It's not mentioned here, it is not there in your NCERT, but yes, this is something we should know, that how we have related the chemical theory to actually the development of life. Okay, now origin of life, they say that the first non-cellular form of life could have originated 3 billion years ago, and they could have been giant RNA proteins or polysaccharides. And these capsules, when they combine together, they must have generated, this is the theory given, we don't know what actually happened, but we know that if we are accepting chemical evolution, we are accepting that yes, these organic molecules were formed from inorganic molecules. First thing. Second thing, these organic molecules must have developed, must have combined together and formed some capsule-like structure. And these capsule-like structure must have developed the ability to reproduce or form other capsules of the same type. So few capsules formed, then they started replicating, and along with the replication, they also started evolving. And when they started evolving, the first life form must have appeared from the replication of these capsules or coacervates, as Operon called them. And 2 million years ago, life must have evolved in the form of single cells. They must have modified to form a complex cellular structure. Okay, and then another theory attached to it is all life form must have appeared in the water bodies. As you can see here, he is also making whatever is being formed through is passing through water, and then he achieved the complex molecules. Okay, so because the scientists believe that the life must have originated in water, water played a very important role. Whatever gases were present, they must have struck with one another. Rainfall occurred, they came down to water in the oceans and seas. There they mixed with one another and developed into these complex molecules. So whatever life must have originated, the first living organism must have been formed in the water bodies. Okay, then what happens? Slowly and gradually, the from water bodies, they became more complex and shifted to terrestrial habitat. So this is the theory of abiogenesis. Biogenesis, they are occurring, one living organism is occurring from the other living organism. So this is the theory of abiogenesis, which shows that the first living forms, they arose from non-living molecules. The non-living forms can give rise to living molecules, which can further evolve and get converted into complex molecules. Okay, so once these single cells have formed in the water, they must have evolved, and present day diversity, they went on changing, evolution kept on taking place, and they developed into present day organisms. Okay, then this is evolution of life. How did life appear? There are several assumptions were to propose the evolution of life, which was the religious literature, that is the theory of spontaneous generation. Then again they have now here comes the reference to a very important phenomena. These theories, the religious, whatever the religious literature says, there were three connotations. One, that all living species or types that we see today were created as such. The theory of special creation they have mentioned here now. That all living organisms, man was born as man. Man was never born as ape and did not evolve into man. We were born as man, man came on earth as man, and then from one person to another, due to reproduction, the number kept on increasing. The other is the diversity was same since creation. This is all special creation. God has made everything, and right from the day the earth started, all this diversity was here as such. There is no change in the diversity. We are just reproducing and producing the offsprings of our own type. No evolution, no change, no new species were made on this earth. Everything came as such. Then is these ideas were strongly challenged. Third one, sorry, that earth is about 4,000 years old. This was the third aspect of third belief of theory of special creation. But theory of special creation was greatly challenged when Charles Darwin, he went on a voyage in a ship called as HMS Beagle. So he took a ship, he bought a ship, HMS Beagle, and he went on a voyage around the world. And what he did on his voyage, he simply kept studying all the different types of organisms he came across. He studied biodiversity on the way. Whatever island he visited, whatever country he visited, he studied the biodiversity present on those areas. And what were his conclusion? He concluded that existing life forms share similarity to varying degree, not only among themselves, but also with life forms that existed millions of years ago. And this can be proved with the help of fossils. See, there are many fossils which show the characteristics of two different types of organisms present today. So maybe it was the ancestor, the forefather of those two types of organisms. So if suppose birds and reptiles were produced from day one as such, we shouldn't have come across a fossil like Archaeopteryx. Nothing like Archaeopteryx should have been present. There should be no vestigial organs in our body, and there should not be any resemblance in the DNA structure, too much resemblance in the DNA structure of human and apes. We are all different, and if we were created as such, then there should not be any similarity. Then the evolution of man, as we have discovered, shouldn't have taken place. So he found that yes, there are similarity between organisms existing at different places. There are similarities in them, and plus there are similarities between the present day organism and the organism which do not exist today. Okay, he said that extinctions of different life forms took place. Also, new life forms arose. He said it's not that the diversity, the number of or the type of organism will remain as such. New organisms keep on arising due to evolution. Old organisms which are not able to survive in the changing environment, they keep on dying because of what? Because of extinction. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so is this in clear? So let's proceed. What did Charles Darwin? So you can see his ship. This is HMS Beagle, the ship in which Charles Darwin went on a voyage, and this is the route that he took. Okay, so as you can see, Galapagos Islands are coming on the way. So he started here. He kept on moving. He went on and on. He went like this. Then he went to England. Then he returned the same way. He went across South America. He came to Galapagos, Haiti, and so on. Okay, so this was the pathway taken by Charles Darwin on his ship, that is HMS Beagle. So this is his ship, and most important discoveries which he did was related to Galapagos Islands. Okay, so what did he observe? That he observed that organisms have undergone gradual evolution due to variation of characteristics which enable some to survive better in climatic conditions. Okay, so it is referred to as fitness. It is referred to as fitness of individual population, which means reproductive fitness. What did he say? What his basic theory was? He gave the theory of natural selection, and he said that all the organisms that are well adapted to the given environment, अभी जो environmental conditions है, उनमें जो बहुत अच्छे से adapt करते हैं, they are ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है कि वो एनवायरमेंट उनको नेगेटिवली इम्पैक्ट कर रहा है. द चेंजेस प्रेजेंट इनसाइड देम, द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स आर इनेबलिंग देम टू सर्वाइव वेल इन द गिवन कंडीशंस. तो उनका रिप्रोडक्टिव फिटनेस भी ज्यादा होगा. जो ऑर्गेनिजम्स वेल अडेप्टेड नहीं है, they will produce lesser number of offspring than the organisms that are well adapted to a given condition. जो वेल अडेप्टेड है वो ज्यादा नंबर ऑफ ऑफस्प्रिंग्स बनाएंगे. वेल अडेप्टेड नहीं है, उनके नंबर ऑफ ऑफस्प्रिंग्स विल बी लेसर बिकॉज देयर रिप्रोडक्टिव फिटनेस इज lesser. Okay, so what will this lead to? I'm so sorry, but there's something. Okay, sorry, better. There was something very important. I could not help it. Okay, so natural selection. This is known as natural selection. That is, the organisms which are well adapted produce more offspring than the organisms which are not very well adapted. So, will it not lead to evolution? क्या ये evolution में नहीं result करेगा? Obviously, अगर जो well adapted है उनमें कुछ ऐसे changes हो गए हैं कि वो environmental factors से में ज्यादा अच्छे से adapt कर सकते हैं और ऐसे organisms का number increase हो गया. जो वेल अडेप्ट नहीं हो सकते उनका नंबर डिक्रीज हो गया. तो आफ्टर सम टाइम्स व्हाट विल हैपन, जो वेल अडेप्टेड नहीं है उनका और कम हो जाएगा और एक पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे वो एक्सटिंक्ट हो जाएंगे. ओके, एंड वेयरएज दोस हु आर वेल अडेप्टेड, उनके ऑफस्प्रिंग्स वो भी बहुत सारे ऑफस्प्रिंग्स क्रिएट करेंगे. उनमें जो अडेप्टेशन, उनमें जो चेंजेस हुए, जो और ज्यादा अच्छे अडेप्टेड हो गए, उनके ऑर्गेनिजम्स के ऑफस्प्रिंग्स और ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस होंगे. तो सिमिलरली क्या हो सकता है 10-20 जनरेशंस के बाद जो offsprings here, they are very different from their parental, the fourth or the basic generation. Okay, so this would lead to evolution. So Alfred Wallace, naturalist who worked in Malladay Alpigo, had also came to similar conclusions that Darwin had. So basically Darwin तो voyage पर गया, voyage पे जाके उसने कुछ observe करा और observe करने के बाद he came back और उसने Alfred Wallace की लिखी एक book read करी. Okay. Inspiration from this, and then even Alfred Wallace was working in the same direction. He was also working that he also did not believe in spontaneous than in special creation, and he also said that organisms are related to one another and they do change. So on the basis of his observation, on the basis of inspiration which he got from Alfred Wallace's work, what he did, he gave his theory of natural selection. Okay. So all existing forms share, what did he say? He said that all existing forms share similarity and have common ancestors. However, the ancestors were present at different periods in the history of Earth. And together they also concluded that Earth is not only 4,000 years old, as special theory of special creation says. It was present thousands or billions of years old, and it took a very long time for the present day diversity to emerge. Okay. Then is the geological history of Earth. What does the geological history of Earth says? It says that with advancing study on evolution, scientists were able to conclude that Earth is billions of years old. Even Alfred Wallace felt that. Then Charles Darwin also felt that. And on the basis of how evolution, when we came across fossils, we studied the age of fossils, we came to know Earth is not only 4,000 years old, it is billions of years old. Okay, so the geological time scale is divided. It is clear. I'm sorry, I won't be able to share the screen with you because as such, because my laptop got switched off due to power failure. So tomorrow maybe I'll show you all those slides again, and we'll quickly revise those files. Okay. So now let's start with evidences of organic evolution. We were studying that organic evolution took place. We were talking about the time scales, the evolution. Okay. So the most important point was about like Charles Darwin. He said in HMS Beagle, he said that organic evolution is taking place, and evolution is taking place because of natural selection. So now how is this natural selection taking place? What are the evidences which prove? Because now scientists, they believe that yes, organic life must have evolved from non-living matter, and then the evolution must have taken place, changes must have taken place. So what are these evidences which show that yes, indeed organic evolution must have taken place? The first evidence is the paleontological evidences. And what do you mean by paleontological evidences? Paleontological evidences means the evidences which we get from the fossil records. From the fossils, we get this evidence that yes, life must have evolved. And what are these? These different types of evidences? Can you tell me one or two evidences which you have already done in class 10? Two evidences. Tell me. You have done two evidences based on fossils that show that life has evolved from, evolution has taken place. Who will tell me quickly? Yes, anybody? One hint, you studied about Archaeopteryx. Yes, Kunal. Yes, Kunal.
You have to tell about the method which we use or something like that.
Paleontological evidences which prove that yes, evolution has taken place, organic evolution has taken place. Evolution has taken place. How does carbon dating show that evolution has taken place? Hello? Is it clear? Are you understanding my question? Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
See, I'm asking, how do we come to know from paleontological evidences, from fossil record, that evolution has taken place?
There are different.
Yes. See, we have come across so many. Yes. The type of?
The type of structures, the structure of the skeleton which we have studied is different from what is it.
Okay, so yes, when we study about the fossils, we come across many fossils which have the features, which have the dual features, that is in the present day organism. If we try to compare them with the present day organisms, then they show features of two different phyla, two different classes, two different orders or genuses. Okay, so that shows that maybe that organism, that fossil that we have come across was the common ancestor which later evolved into two different forms. As you have studied about Archaeopteryx, it has both the features of birds and reptiles. Okay, so what is presumed? It is presumed that maybe what would have happened, Archaeopteryx was there, and in this Archaeopteryx, what happens? Some of the organisms, Archaeopteryx-like organisms, must have lost their limbs, must have lost their teeth, and must have adapted only aerial habitat, and they must have changed into birds. The others must have taken up lost the ability to fly, and then they must have slowly and gradually evolved into the present day reptiles. Okay, so this connecting links which are present the paleontological evidences which show that yes, all living organisms must have evolved from some pre-existing organisms. Okay, then is when we talk about yes.
Same we can say in the case of reptile and snake.
Yes, definitely. See, Archaeopteryx is not only the only connecting links. I'll be discussing other connecting links also. Okay, Archaeopteryx is one of the connecting link. Apart from that, we have characters like Ichthyogista. Ichthyogista is a fossil which has some characteristics of fishes and some of amphibians. So it is a connecting link between fishes and amphibians. Then the third type of connecting link is Simoria. Simoria is what? Simoria has got some characteristics of amphibians and some of reptiles. So it acts as a connecting link between amphibians and reptiles. Then we have Basilosaurus. Basilosaurus is a fossil. It is a fossil whale which has got hind limb. Okay, so it shows that maybe the whales had a terrestrial habitat and later they shifted to the aquatic habitat. Okay, so we don't have Archaeopteryx is something you did in class 10, the only example of a connecting link of fossil, but we have many other connecting link. Okay, so as I told you, I've discussed about Ichthyostera, I've discussed about Simoria, Basilosaurus. Apart from that, we have one more connecting link which is known as the pteridosperms. These pteridosperms are a fossil which is an intermediate between fern and seed plant. Okay, so it has both the characteristic of ferns also and seed plants also. So even in plants, we can have many of these connecting links. Okay, any doubts? Any doubts, Kunal? Are you muted now? Okay, you're muted. Okay, so now what we were discussing, okay, Kunal, good. So this is how the paleontological evidences, that is when we study about fossils, we come to know that yes, the living organisms, they may be having a common ancestor and then they evolved into various types of ancestors. Various types of diversity present on Earth today. Then the second paleontological evidence is the number and nature of fossils in early rocks. As we go down and down and more older the fossils are, the diversity of fossils is lesser and lesser. And more recent a fossil is, the diversity is more. तो ऐसा क्यों है? इतने पुराने fossils में diversity, see हो सकता है number of fossils कम हो, but they can be very diverse type also. But the diversity observed in very old fossils is very less, whereas the diversity which is observed in more recent fossils is much more. इसका मतलब जो earlier small number of organisms है, they must have evolved into the larger diversity which is present today. Okay, and then the distribution in the fossils, earlier fossils, जैसे हम humans के fossils की बात करें, तो you started आपके 10th का hereditary evolution का last point क्या था? It was human evolution. And human evolution में they told you that the footprints of all the humans can be traced back to Africa. इसका मतलब सबसे ज़्यादा fossils of humans were found, old fossils of humans were found in Africa, और जो newer fossils हैं, they are distributed more all over the world. इसका मतलब at one place, at a small location, many organisms must have been present. They must have migrated to different locations, और अलग-अलग locations की अलग-अलग geographical conditions के हिसाब से they must have modified themselves. Evolution must have taken place, and they must have evolution. जब सबसे ज़्यादा हो गया तो speciation result हो गया. Speciation result हो गया तो बहुत सारी diversity बन गई होगी. Okay, so these are three things which that gave us the paleontological evidence of organic evolution of life. Okay, apart from that, evolution of horse, maybe there it is in your niche, but it is not as per your NCERT. The second evidence for the chemical evolution is comparative anatomy and morphology. When we compare the structure and the function of various organs, we find that many organisms are quite related to one another. आपने 10th में भी किया था, you studied about these two very important terms जो 10th में थी, homology and analogy. Homologous organs and analogous organs. Okay, who will tell me what were homologous organs? What were homologous organs? आपको कहता है 10th में एक क्वेश्चन आता ही आता है होमोलॉजी एंड एनालॉगी से, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, 12th में भी इंपॉर्टेंट है ये. So what is homology and homologous organs? What are analogous organs? मैंने आप लोग को तब भी बताया था कि एक line, maybe you have been told, I didn't teach you, sorry. So there's one line to remember: homology and analogy. Same function, different structure. Was I muted? Were you not able to hear me? Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, so I repeat. We started from evidence in comparative anatomy and morphology. That is when we study the internal structure and external structure of organisms. We come to know that they are related to one another. And one thing about comparative anatomy and morphology, which you did in class 10th, was a very important topic, was homology and analogy, homologous organ and analogous organ. And one quick way of remembering homologous and analogous was same structure, different function, different structure, same function. Okay, so now tell me which applies to what? Homology के लिए कौन सा term?
Same structure, different function is for homology.
Yes, in case of homologous organ, the basic structure of the organism, एक किसी एक part का structure तो बिल्कुल same है. जब internal structure study करते हैं, it is absolutely same, but that organ is being used for different functions by different organisms. So such organs can be called as homologous organs. कुणाल कौन सा example किया था हम लोगों ने 10th में homologous organs का? Forearms of horse, forearms of frog, of birds, of humans. We use it for lifting things. Basic structure same है. The bone arrangement is the same. जैसे हमारे यहाँ पर bones का arrangement है, ऐसी ही bones का arrangement in case of horse, in case of frog, in case of birds. Same arrangement is seen. But everybody is using it for a different purpose. We are using it for lifting things. Horse is using it for moving. Frog is using it for leaping or running. Okay. And bird is using it for flight. Okay. So same structure but different function shows that maybe all these organisms had a common ancestor. और उस कॉमन एंसेस्टर में जो बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर है वो रहा होगा. उनमें से कुछ कॉमन एंसेस्टर्स ने अपने उस बेसिक ऑर्गन्स को फ्लाइट के लिए यूज करना शुरू कर दिया तो वो बर्ड्स में इवॉल्व हो गए. कुछ ने उसको रनिंग के लिए यूज करा तो वो हॉर्स में, लीपिंग के लिए तो फ्रॉग में, और लिफ्टिंग के लिए यूज करा तो वो एप्स या मैन में डेवलप हो गए. Okay, so this shows that many organisms can have a common ancestry. They must have evolved from a common ancestor. Okay, and plus we have some other organs, we have some other features which says that जरूरी नहीं है कि इनका common ancestry हो. Okay, such as analogous organs. Analogous organs क्या होते हैं? Aditya, what is the term we'll use for analogous organs?
Like ma'am, different structure but same work.
Very good. Different structure but same function. Examples कौन से करे थे हमने इसके?
Ma'am, birds and wings of butterfly and wings of bats.
Yes, wings of bats, wings of butterfly, wings of birds. ये सारे के सारे क्या हैं? Analogous organs हैं. If we talk about the wings of birds, the whole of the forelimb is modified into the feather. Okay, when we talk about bats, then bats में जो phalanges हैं, उनके बीच में the extension, the flaps between the phalanges forms the feather. पूरा का पूरा hind limb नहीं उसमें modify होता है feathers में. And when we talk about butterfly, उनमें ऐसा bony structure नहीं होता है. It is just the cartilaginous extensions. They are extra structures. Hind limb का modification. They are not the modification of the limb. Extra structures which are present especially for flight. Okay, their structure relates nowhere to the structure of the phalanges of bones and the hind limb of bird. So different structure but the function is the same. तो इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? Can they have a common ancestor? No, they cannot have a common ancestor. So homology shows that the organism may have a common ancestor. Okay, तो उसको हम क्या कहेंगे? Convergent evolution. कई सारे अलग अलग तरीके के, sorry, divergent evolution. एक ही structure but they started using it for diverse uses. So divergent evolution. And in case of analogous organ, we will use the word convergent evolution. Structure तो सबका अलग अलग था, but they started using it for the same purpose. They started moving towards the same purpose, and so converge कर रहा है क्या? उनका function. Okay, so that is why the other term which we can use for homology shows divergent evolution, whereas analogy shows convergent evolution. Okay, is this thing clear? Any doubts? We will proceed with this in detail tomorrow because your period is over and I have another period. It's 11:40.